children of Israel are. But in reality, where it begins is by showing you the true landmark, really, the true real estate, according to the biblical expression as it relates to the biblical land of Israel. So again, when we look at that, my royal family, observing the information that we are getting there, because again, this is very important. You know, we are really speaking of, with all understanding, exactly, you know, the whole makeup of the land of Israel according to the Bible. Now, you all know it. It's in my book, The True Biblical Land of Israel. I begin the book by speaking of the initial plot. And the initial plot is the real estate that God gave unto Abraham. And this initial plot was from the river Euphrates to the river in Egypt. Now, if we're going to just accept these places for where they are, and most people do, you understand, and let's be clear here, there are more than one Egypts in the Bible. That's why I've explained many times, Egypt, the place Egypt that we call Egypt today, in Northeast Africa, ancient Kemet. Yes, that is in the Bible. As Egypt, there is a pillar. There is a pillar in the midst and an altar on the border thereof to the Lord. That's in the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 19. It's talking about the great pyramid, the Mer or Merakut. But hear this now. Remember again, you know, it says that the place that is spiritually called Egypt, where our Lord was crucified. So where is this place that's spiritually called Egypt, where the Lord was crucified? That's Kemet as well? No, vibes it, family, vibes it. And then still it speaks about they shall return to Egypt via ships. Again. So we already understand, not just on a linguistic level, but even on a spiritual level, that when we speak of Egypt, it's different vibrations. But what I'm saying still, geographically speaking, we're talking about key rivers here. So we understand we're dealing with the map that we know. You get what I'm saying? From the river Euphrates to the river in Egypt. And even this is very important for our discussion this evening, because remember, this is not really the discussion. We're going to be talking about Prester John. And give thanks for all those who are coming in. In fact, I'm just getting the word that we are also on YouTube. So how long we've been? We've been on YouTube for a moment now, like a couple of minutes. So we are thankful for those who are on YouTube. Very give thanks. I don't even know when you joined the conversation, but again, this evening in the Tiger's Nest, we'll be speaking about Prester John, for those who may not know. But anyway, this is just the introduction, and give thanks for your presence. And keep in mind now that the Tiger's Nest is a Radio Anu exclusive, Radio Anu International, not necessarily Radio Anu TV, but we have Radio Anu TV, so we can, as we're doing now, stream, you know, to the international public and give them love and joy and invite you to come to Radio Anu itself. The link will be in the description below this video. You just go and press it and you're right there. But we were speaking a bit of the whole science of the true land of Israel, the true biblical land of Israel. Of course, our book, The True Biblical Land of Israel, which you could also get on the website. So from the river Euphrates to the river in Egypt. The river in Egypt is the Nile. I mean, real low-hanging fruit, you know, real low-hanging fruit. I mean, this is why the true biblical land of Israel, the challenge is so stiff, because it's not as if, yes, let's just assume you can go around one of the points. There's so many points. Then the land expanded to the Great Sea. Man, we have a whole chapter in the book. We have a whole chapter in the book explaining the reality of the Great Sea being the Atlantic Ocean. Technical knockout. Knockout. What you call it, the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea has been expressed to many in the religious world as the Great Sea, but we definitely prove that to be false. I'm not going into all the details. We have done many programs on this subject area, and it's right in the book itself, The True Biblical Land of Israel. You could definitely visit the website and get a copy. This may sound funny, but if you don't think you want to buy a copy, well, we would have done videos specifically speaking about the Great Sea. So you could even check these videos, the Mediterranean Sea, the Great Sea. Just put it in the search on my YouTube channel, Precisa, the Great Sea, the True Biblical Land of Israel. And you'll get snippets, obviously, of how we view this. The Great Sea is the Atlantic Ocean. The Bible clearly, Ezekiel clearly explains that the Great Sea is to the west and also to the south. You know, we would have gone through all of that. And then it talks about the sea directly to the east of Israel. What's to the east of Israel? I think it's Jordan, not the river, Jordan, the country. And then you've gone east into somewhere else, somewhere all up in China. There's no sea to the east of modern-day Palestine that was founded in 1946-47, as Idi Amin Dada clearly showed us. And remember, there was no state of Israel until 1947. Yeah, they took over Palestine by force of arms, given to them by British and America. Zionists, you understand? So there is not real people there. Has nothing to do with the Israelites and the whole story and everything in the book. So I'm just highlighting, you know, there's so many different mystics. I really like the whole energy of, and before I go to that energy, let me just drive home the point. The point is that the Great Sea of the Bible, because there are those mumbling and saying, hey, no, this ain't mumble time. This is put the facts on the table. Yeah, according to the Bible, and I will say this again, we say this all the time. This specific conversation is not a conversation to validate the Bible. We have other conversations, we can get into that. As I always say, it's not to disrespect even the manuscript, but even if it was written by Mother Goose, that's not the point. The point is, according to that book, highly respected book, the land of Israel is all of Africa plus Arabia. Ask the Zionists why they wanted to go to Uganda first before they chose Palestine. Yeah. So again, the Mediterranean Sea is the Atlantic Ocean. This is very important to you because in the religious world, again, the Mediterranean Sea is styled as the Great Sea. The Great Sea, pardon me, is the Atlantic Ocean, not the Mediterranean Sea. Let me be clear here. There's a sea called the Mediterranean Sea to the north of Africa. Then there's the Great Atlantic Ocean, the Great Divide. In the Bible, there's a sea called the Great Sea. And that Great Sea is today's Atlantic Ocean. The religious world, even the black so-called conscious religious world, Rastaman and so, after now understanding what I'm saying clearly, would say, no. The Mediterranean Sea is the Great Sea, because the Mediterranean Sea, being the Great Sea, will some way fit in to the Zionist plan of confusing your mind of where the true land of Israel is. Because the Great Sea is really supposed to be to the west coast of Israel, the whole west coast, not just piece of the west coast like Palestine. And it's also supposed to be to the south, according to Ezekiel. But the Mediterranean is not to the south of Palestine. So, I mean, it's totally disqualified. And I can see why ones don't step up to that challenge. I mean, it's suicide, man. Like running into a brick wall. 2 Chronicles chapter 33. Here, next knockout. 2 Chronicles chapter 33 clearly describes the city of David as being on the west of the river Nile. Yeah, where does it say that? And King Manasseh built a wall without or around the city of David on the west of the Gihon. And everyone knew the Gihon. If it's not the Nile, it's the Blue Nile. You know, you could, any which one is good enough for me, eh? It doesn't change the story at all. According to Genesis chapter 2, verse 13, it is the Gihon that encompasses the whole land of Ethiopia. The Gihon is the Nile. I saw somebody write an article trying to explain what compass means and the Nile doesn't come. Yeah, good try, good try. The Gihon is the Nile. Don't be in denial now. The Gihon is the Nile. Very good. So when it says that the city of David in 2 Chronicles chapter 33, the city of David is on the west side of the Gihon. That's what it says. Come on. And then now when you pull out all of these maps, before you get to the maps, this is why we would have proven in the book of Nahum chapter 3 it is, where it clearly shows that all of Africa was one. We have done programs on that specifically, and yet still that's a few paragraphs in the book, The True Biblical Land of Israel, where Nahum is showing them now, hey, listen, man, the city of thieves. This is what Nahum is saying in plain language. The city of thieves once ruled all the landmass of the continent that it is on, from sea to sea. Shining sea, eh? See the shining sea. That's what Nahum says. Let me put it in the poetic realms. Art thou better than populous Norway? So now we have to explain who we're talking to the Israelites here. Art thou better than populous Norway? What's this populous Norway now? What are you talking about? Norway is Thebes. And it clearly explained that Thebes was situated by the rivers, which is true. That's where Norway or Thebes is. Ancient Kemet we're talking about. Literally on the rivers, Thebes. And its wall was the sea. That's very, very interesting point. And its rampart was from the sea, which is basically the same thing. Your defense, your wall, what surrounds you. Now, Thebes doesn't have a seaport. Thebes is a landlocked city. Yeah. It's known as the city of 100 gates. You ought to be careful if which gate you're coming out. If its wall was the sea, that means it's surrounded. That's what the book of Nahum said. Its surrounding was the sea. And its walls was the sea, and its rampart was from the sea, which is the same thing again, wall, defense. So if you have 100 gates to this city, you got to be careful how you step out them gates, because it's the sea. But no, Thebes is landlocked. So how the Bible will be talking about, populous, it was populous, that is true. Norway, and it was great. It's considered one of the greatest empire ever. Norway or Thebes, 100 gates. Yeah, but you see, the city ruled the land. It's just like, you know, you may have, this is why, okay, listen to this now. This is why many free thinkers would argue, but hey, listen, how is it that Israelites were leaving Egypt in Africa going to Palestine, when at that time Palestine was all a part of the province of Egypt? You get it? Which is true. Kemet ruled all there, so where they were running to. So it doesn't make sense when you look at history now. Right history, you run in that, and several things about that doesn't even add up, but I don't want to stick on that point. The point is that Thebes, although it's just a city, it would have, its power, its wings would have stretched across, for sure, North Africa. For sure, Kemet, because Thebes would have run the whole of Kemet. You know that. So this is showing us now there was a time where its power, its dominion, would have ensured that its walls was the sea. That's the point, the poetry. Remember, the Bible is a lot of poetry. So the walls of Thebes was the sea, not the lake, you know, not the pond, the sea. So that means it would have had to have dominion over the whole land, which is not hard to believe. Maybe you don't see that in history, but when you read of the glory of this ancient Kemetic city, as I said, Chancellor Williams, the destruction of Black civilization, there's a chapter, is it a chapter or subchapter, entitled The City of 100 Gates. That's it. And you know, the dominion it had, it surely ruled over Kemet. It ruled Northeast Africa in its day. So obviously the power could have been throughout the whole land. And that could have been, if we're going to take the Bible in its sense, it's clearly showing you, you know, that the sea was its wall. Only makes sense. I mean, the Bible goes into, you know, so many different things. When it says from Dan to Beersheba, that means the whole land of Israel. There's a place in Israel called Beersheba, but it's also called Sheba. It's right there in the Bible. You know? Beersheba, also called Sheba. Now tell me, you understand? Yeah. Yeah. So there's so many things we can go into, family. And then now the maps. Then the maps, there's so many ancient maps where you see the Bethlehem, Jerusalem, these different places, Golan, that you find in the biblical text on the map of Africa. Yes, you could argue that, listen, different places that were Bethlehem in Maryland, you know, and yeah, I know, I understand what you're trying to say. But if you couple that with our argument then, if you want to call it an argument, man, Haile Selassie changed the name of a city in Ethiopia, which was called Adama. He changed the name to Nazareth. Haile Selassie Haile Selassie changed the name of the city to Nazareth. And remember Nazareth, you know, even as Bobo Shanti, you know, you hear that that philosophy there, then culture. Even the Honorable Priest Dougie was busting some of them cultures for us the other evening. That where King Emmanuel, when he set into the place they call Nazareth, because that's where the dreadlocks rise. The Nazarite, the Nazarene, you know. Yeah, so family, just as because I promised that I would touch the subject a bit, that's why I went into it. But as I said, we have I think a little more important subject area I want to touch upon. We still on social media there. Okay, yes, and we're still with the YouTube family. Now, YouTube family, remember, if by any chance the program has to leave here, all you gotta do is press the link in the description below, and that will bring you straight to Radio and Prester John. But let me just remind everyone again, remember the 5th now of November, and just of course remember you're in tune to the Tiger's Nest Radio Annual, talking about just 15 minutes after the hour of 15 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock in the evening tide. Give thanks for your presence with us at this moment, and just remind you that it is Sunday, the 5th of November. This Sunday, the 5th of November, Patreon's Day is here already. Looking forward to each one's presence with us, each one that will be celebrating with us and keeping the vibes. Of course, throughout the day, we will definitely be having different speakers coming in and sharing knowledge with us and giving us information. Now, keep in mind, this is exclusively radio and for the full proceedings of the day. But at the same time, remember that we will be premiering and streaming on this very same media for those who are checking us on Radio and TV. That's the YouTube channel. That's Radio and TV, and the website as well. All of that is Radio and TV. We're talking about stealth media that covers it all. Stealth media, because remember, this is revolutionary radio. You get what's going on here. Very good. And Radio and TV for sure. So just keep your eyes out all over for us on Patreon's Day. But if you don't want to be looking here, there, and everywhere, just come to Radio and sit in from 6 in the uprising. In fact, from midnight, Nyabinghi or the Nyabinghi drum sound will be stalking through the universe. So just come and sup in with us and hold a meditation and join us in prayer throughout the evening. And then the sun coming forward, we start the program with a bang and meditation and deep breathing, and the different speakers will be coming in early. And listen to this. Remember, I have a few special presentations that I will be making. One of the presentations will be the Save Green Castle Hill project, Rescue Mount Anu, and I'll be asking everyone to join the frequency to start the discussion. It's going to be a long day, family, a very, very lengthy and well-filling day, up full meditation and good vibes. And then also I will be presenting the document, which is the document Preserve the Generations to Come. And this document really was designed, well, I'll give you the details in detail when we gather on Sunday, but just the basic understanding, it is designed really to present to an authority that is already controlling an education system, wherein the education system reaches out to almost every child within the society, and this goes for the whole world. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying now that we would have created a program that if the same education system, which really in many cases has been designed to cripple us, if they would implement what I would have proposed, obviously some stiff measures, then they can be assured that the generations to come will be much more appealing, even in their eyes. And that's the truth. In fact, we're given methods that would have worked. Now, the essay competition is just one aspect of the document that we are putting together. So on Sunday, we will be revealing it and giving you a better idea of exactly what we are talking about. And so many things. Remember, at 3 in the afternoon, we're going to have the House of Priests meet Rasta round table, where we will be gathering in one room as such, and we will be reasoning on Rastafari and the future. And specifically, we will be talking about our economical state, and also we will be speaking of our theological outlook. And the discussion should be very rich, sharp, and intelligent. really, from how we would have planned that. So it's going to be a great day, and other surprises and offers throughout the day. Just a wonderful sitting, just a wonderful season. Just make sure you put the time aside on Sunday. Just make sure you put up your speakers loud and clear. Blast it throughout your village. Let everybody know, hey, listen, today is my day. Don't worry. It's all good vibration you're going to be getting. Good reasoning, good meditation on radio Anu. Very good. Wonderful. All right, family. Now, what should we do before we go into this? We want us to go straight into the reasoning. We have the family from YouTube here. So let us just go straight into the reasoning, one time. Prester John. Who is this Prester John? Now, as I said at the beginning of the program, and let me say again before we even go too far, the Tiger's Nest radio program is a program that comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. sharp Eastern Caribbean time, Standard Time at this time. Now, definitely, if one is not in the position to always sit in the Tiger's Nest, you don't have to worry. Yeah, you don't have to miss another episode of one of these rich programs again. All you got to do is email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. Visit the website, priestisaacinstitute.com. You don't know where the link is, description below, and you can subscribe to be a member of the subscription team, Tiger's Nest. And what does that give me? Well, it comes with some prizes and surprises eventually, but what it really gives you is the opportunity to never miss another episode of the Tiger's Nest again. What say you? Very good. So as we were saying at the beginning of the program, so contact me, just email me, let me know, hey, I would like to be a member of the Tiger's Nest subscription team. Very good. Now, as we were saying at the beginning of the program, hey, let's just read this from the collector. Prester John. What was the medieval legend of Prester John? Question. In the late Middle Ages, a story about a distant Christian ruler began to circulate in Europe. Let's follow this good, eh? Who was this Prester John? And how did this tale evolve over time? Very good. Now this is deep, because this mythical king, as he's called, was portrayed as a black man. It's only today you see some people trying to paint him some funny color. And yet still, even from the old descriptions and maps, he's placed square in ancient Ethiopia. In the late Middle Ages, a story about a distant Christian ruler began to circulate in Europe. Who was this Prester John? And how did this tale evolve over time? And the reason why, family, I thought that this subject was very important, especially to this the scholarly squad here, is because you're dealing with knowledge, you're dealing with information. That is why even previous night on a program I did on the YouTube, I was encouraging us, sometimes the previous night or maybe the night before, whatever the case was, encouraging us to keep up the art, the practice of reading. And just for your own health, not reading the computer screen, but get a book, paper, ink, read. As I said, even when I really began to read, it was encyclopedia. I was reading A to B to C to D, all the way down to the letter Z. All right, read. Yeah, very important. So we thrive on knowledge here and understanding. The Middle Ages in Europe were characterized by intense religious warfare, that's for sure. You see, when you read, you know that. Both within Christian states and against the Muslim empires of the Middle East. This perfect storm of religious conflict and curiosity for foreign riches birthed one of the greatest legends of the era, the story of Prester John. Said to be a wealthy Christian ruler located in the Indies. Hey, where? West Indies? No. The Indies. Prester John captured the imagination of European explorers and leaders because many, this is me talking now, many explorers left Europe. Some going to India, some to Arabia, some to Africa, looking for the mythical Prester John. Now listen to this. Yet the fabled king never actually existed. Are you sure? Are you positive about that? He was a fictional creation. Who tell you that? I'm just asking. You know, can you prove this? Okay, they're going to prove it. The roots of Prester John. And basically, you know, this is what you will get from most of the commentary as it relates to Prester John. Even the books and the old historical books that write about Prester John. Very good. Now, it says here, the legend of Prester John originated during the 12th century. Keep your notes, family, because all of this is very, very important. The legend of Prester John. I'm just grabbing my Ethiopian maskel. Give thanks to the man, Israel Daya, Dubtronics. Give me a beautiful maskel from Ethiopia. Yeah. The legend of Prester John originated during the 12th century. German Catholic Bishop Otto of Friesing, Chronica de Daubos, Civitatibus is the oldest surviving documentary source for the story. In this document, which was compiled around 1145, write the date down, please, 1145, very important. Bishop Otto claims to have heard from a Syrian counterpart about a Christian monarch to the east of the Byzantine Empire, talking about, you know, Rome, really. However, after the publication of Chronica, mentions of Prester John fade from the documentary record. Fade or faded. Anyway, grammar sometime. Everything would change during the 1160s. Put that down too. When a letter supposedly written by the mysterious king surfaced in Europe. The letter went into great detail describing Prester John's kingdom. Despite claims of modesty, the Eastern ruler appeared to brag about his land's riches, claiming to lead the wealthiest kingdom on earth. In Prester John's lands, no poverty, lands. In Prester John's lands, no poverty or violent crime existed. Sounds like Colonel Gaddafi. Sexual impropriety was unheard of. The kingdom was also home to a dazzling array of animals. Okay, from elephants and lions. Okay, yeah, India have a few lions too. Yeah, but yeah, to fantastical cyclops. Cyclops. Okay, cyclops is cyclops. Okay, good. Guess they would have unicorns too. For all intents and purposes, Prester John ruled humanity's perfect society. Okay, very good. To say that European elites were intrigued by the letter would be an understatement. Translations appeared at the end of the century and even attracted the attention of Pope Alexander III. Alexander was so intrigued that he wrote his own letter to Prester John, I tell you, and sent a confidant named Master Philip to find the king. Philip apparently returned to the Pope empty-handed. Apparently, eh? So there's no specific fact about that. Let me get into this part here. Modern scholars agree that Prester John's letter was a forgery, although it was addressed to the Byzantine emperor. Only Latin Christendom appears to have received it. Okay, but they receive it. What are you talking about? Prester John described his kingdom as being located in the three Indies, but did not specify further. To this day, the author of the original letter is unknown. But I mean, and it says Prester John. What do you mean it's unknown? You fellas doubt everything. These people doubt everything. You know what I like to watch? Even though it's our brother and our sister, you know, there are a few documentaries like the other evening we were talking about Gus Casey. Remember the lecture we were, well, those of you on radio, I know for sure. You know, he has a documentary, The Kingdoms of Africa. And so does our good sister, Zainab Zedawi, hope I pronounced it right, from the BBC, both documentaries, series that were done by the BBC. And in both cases, when they visited the Ethiopian Abunan, both of them, in fact, throughout their documentary, they were very critical of the reality of Ethiopia's story. The Ark of the Covenant, the Solomonic lineage, you know, and I just like to pick at the psychology of people. So like at one time, Zainab was, I think she was in Seba, and she was asking one of the curators for one of the museum or one of the sites. So you really think this was the real palace of the Queen of Sheba? She said, yeah, of course, yeah. and Brother Kaysin, when he was in Lalibela, and I think the fella that run there was telling him about, you know, the Star of David and from the Solomonic dynasty and no, well, he said that, but he was explaining that the angels, yes, built Lalibela. And Kaysin was like, and you really believe that? And he said, of course, it is true. And he was like, you sure? And both of them now, both journalists, reporter, when they sat before, not together, the different documentaries, when they sat before the Archbishop of Ethiopia, they're questioning him now about the Ark of the Covenant. Are you sure the Ark, you believe it's really there? One of the Abunas, clearly I remember look at Casey and said, the Ark of the Covenant. He sharply turned his head. He's with us. You understand? So I'm saying all of that to say, everyone, I mean, it's good to question. Of course. These very same things, I've queried them myself. You know, maybe I've just passed the stage, so it's somewhat amusing. Now, well, what I'm saying here is that many times when we don't understand something, we are quick to dismiss it. To be honest, I don't think we give the Ethiopians enough credit for preserving their history of us. Straight up. Even if you don't believe in Moses and the ark, what you're trying to tell me, all of these monks that guarding the ark in St. Mary's Chapel, they're making up a story to fool the rest of the world. Who paid them to do that? Well, Russ, I don't know, but I don't believe in no ark of the God. Hold on, don't speak like that. Come on, don't speak. We don't speak like that here. We thrive off of intelligence. That's why we did series. We did a whole series on the ark. We did a webinar on the ark. In fact, we did a program not too long ago on the ark. Not just the ark of the covenant, just the concept of the ark. When we realize how many arks are out there of Tutankhamun, the ark of Anpu, and then other chests and box and all sorts of things down to Khufu's coffer. That is the exact size of the ark and the ark of energy. Moses placed in the ark and Noah and the ark. We went into the fullness and came to the understanding that, hey, this is deeper than religion. Yeah. So it take a religious mind even to act as if they don't want to talk of religious things. Oh, I don't believe in a Moses and no ark. Nobody have no ark in there. See, to me, that's just as religious. Because you're totally blocking out the rich culture of history. Man, how many ark figures? We showed you the glyphs of all the arks and people carrying these arks, and all of them have ark energy power. That's why they shock you when you touch them. It's deep, man. It's deep. So we thrive on deeper thinking. We can't be on no religious, dogmatic, shallow thoughts right now. Think deeper, family. Think deeper. That's why we're not in no argument with nobody. I saw my good brother Garfield the other day. I was just scrolling through, and Garfield had a video entitled Rastafari-ism, Priest Isaac, and something else. I don't even remember the rest. I said, give thanks, my brother. I never watched the video. Never did. It was 4.5 hours. I was saying, like, wow, that's a marathon there, man. I mean, time just couldn't permit to even start anywhere there. And you may say, wow, you should have listened to hear what he's trying to say. No, that was good enough. I don't need to know what he was trying to say. My name was in the title. That's promotion. I give thanks, brother. I promote you and you promote me. You understand? When we did a few videos, not really about him, just mentioning him, as you could see, some people in the comments said, I never heard of him. So more people learn about him. He's a very brilliant brother. He has a lot of good information. I admire his knowledge, so I have no problem promoting him. And I'm happy that I don't know what he said. I could only guess, but just to see my name in the title is good enough. See, remember, that's our problem. We're not even business minded. So we see everything is, oh, he's a hater. That's why haters are good. They promote you. They make other people know about you. There's so many people that watch Garfield that never even hear about me. Give thanks. Yeah, it's chess we playing, eh? We don't have no time for checkers. So, Prester John now. This is interesting, eh? And give thanks again to Tiger's Nest. Exactly 30, no, it's 41 minutes now, moving up until the hour of 9 o'clock. I hope the family, and this is Radio Anu, so I know the Radio Anu family is real comfortable, I know the YouTube family might be in and out. Yeah, but that's how we do it here. We're not in no rush, eh? Very good. So in Europe now, you have this tale that came up in the 12th century. I like to say the 12th century, because you have to understand when it comes to history, sometimes when you get a date, you have to give and take even a decade. That is why even the dates of all the dynastic period of Egypt that were given to them by Flinders Petrie and Ghana and these Egyptologists. That is why they even conflict with each other. So the dates of the pyramids, the dates of the old kingdom and middle kingdom and intermediate kingdoms, a lot of these dates are off, not aligned, and at least the experts, they clash when it comes to a lot of these dates. But at least you have an idea of the ballpark. So now it's said here clearly that this Prester John, some heavy showers coming down, and sounds like rocks falling there. But this Prester John now is said to be a ruler, according to this article, of the Indies. As I said earlier in the program, we're talking about not just so-called India yet, the place called India. In fact, you know, they're looking to change the name of India to something else. I don't remember the name, but to Indians, it's not a new name. In fact, that's the real name. I can't remember the name, but there's a name in India that the name that most Indians know India as, and they're looking to make that the actual name. But India is bigger than just India, as you know it. That is why when it says the Indies, that's why Prester John said he ruled the 3 Indies. You hear that? He ruled the 3 Indies. What did we say earlier? They were looking for Prester John in India for obvious reasons. They were looking for Prester John in Arabia. They were looking for Prester John in Ethiopia. That's the 3 Indies. That's why he even began the program showing you Arabia, Africa plus Arabia is that land of Israel that the Bible speaks of. This is not religion, you know. This is just you thinking analytically and open-mindedly. The very same Bible as well shows you in the book of Esther, King Artaxerxes, that he ruled from Ethiopia all the way to India. The relationship with East Ethiopia and Ethiopia is well known. Who is Ethiopia? That's India. Eastern Ethiopia. It is well known. That's why Black people could leave India and go to China to teach them Kung Fu. That's why the Buddha is black, and the whole Hindu tradition and what's his name? Not Krishna, yes, blue black, because India itself was a province of ancient Ethiopia. You understand? That is why Sri Lanka and in the south of India, you have these black untouchables, as they call them, people. So we're talking history. We're not talking yesterday. We're talking anciency. So India now, or the 3 Indies, is basically the Eastern world. Let's just put it in that knapsack there. So from the 1100s, 1140, 1160, 1170, you're hearing this strong rise of a Christian king. You know that's Ethiopia in the east. And he's ruling this perfect land where there are elephants and lions, and he have gold, and he's a charming king, and his people are flourishing, and his name is Prester John, or Prester Johannes, Presbyter Johannes, Priest John. He is a king priest, Priest John. In the Quran, the name John, Yahya. John's name is Yahya. Yahya. I had a great aunt by the name of Yaya. Remember that Johannes is John in the Ethiopian language. Or Johannes is not John. Johannes is Johannes. But the word John is what they try to equate to Johannes. I know you understand what I'm saying and why I said it so. Follow me, family, please. Just hold tight. This is a very important program. Who is Prester John? They're saying that he's a fable, although many people, explorers left Europe to go and look for this fable. They must be mad. Christopher Columbus in the 1400s, 1490s, he supposedly left Europe, going to India as well. Marco Polo, all of these people here were looking for Priest John, Presbyter Johannes, Prester John, the king of this great, perfect, mythical kingdom. This mythical, fable, make-believe, not real king, wrote a letter. Come on, man. To the Byzantine emperor, to the point that ones would have made their journey to Africa, Ethiopia, looking for this king because of this letter. Remember, the letter was in their time. So we're talking of from the 1100s, 1200s, 1300s, I think all the way up to the 14th and 1500s. Prester John was still a household name and a thing to seek out. That's 500, 600, 700 years, brother. You live a long time, eh? Prester John, live a long time. So this is why now ones may consider that Prester John would have to have been this mythical king, because I mean 700 years and you're still going to look for Prester John. And you should check history and observe the European conquest and their invasion of Africa. They were really looking for Prester John for truth, because they knew he had gold. Now watch this. So if the rise of Prester John was in between the 1100s and the 1200s, the 12th to the 13th century AD, this is where Prester John appears. This is when Prester John wrote the letter to the Byzantine emperor. Okay, hold on. Let's be straight. Where is Prester John? Is he in Venezuela? No. Okay, you get my point. Is he in California? No. Very good. Is he in India? Maybe, you know, because, okay, we're getting there. Arabia, well, they went all there looking for him. Ethiopia, I think so, because Ethiopia seems to be the consensus, the maps. Prester John is a black man, woolly hair. The Ethiopian king, Prester John, is the Ethiopian king. Okay, good, fair enough. But remember, he's a fable. Hold on, man. Hold on. We did a program speaking about the astronomical signs of Cassiopeia and Cephas. Do you remember that, family? And we clearly showed to the loved ones that Cassiopeia, because in the myth, Cassiopeia is considered a Greek myth about Ethiopia with the A, which that just carries you into a whole mythical vibe. Although that's really how it's supposed to spell, but you know, if you go and you search for Ethiopia with a capital A, you may get Memnon and all these different things. Cytos. It goes into a totally different thing, you know, and that has its own king's list too, you know. The Greek mythical Ethiopia has its own king's list. What the Greeks would have done, this is to show you how much they worship us. They would have taken the historical Ethiopian kings and queens and turned them into mythical characters. Follow me good. So in other words, Cassiopeia is the wife of Kephas. But as we would have showed you already going through the king's list, Cassiopeia was a real queen and Kephas was a real king. But they ruled, I think it was at least 7,800 years apart. That's touching me a bit now. So Queen Cassiope, Queen Cassiope is the actual Cassiopeia that you see in the heavens. You understand? And it's the same thing with Kephas. And remember, Kephas represents the coming king, the coming Ethiopian ruler, the cosmic king, that is Kephas. Now remember that the distance that they are from each other is hundreds of years, but yet still in the story of the Greeks, they are seen as husband and wife. And they even have a daughter, which is Andromeda. So you have Kefe, which is Sebe the third. Kefe, as I said, and Kefe is 1438. Kefe is 1438. All of this is BC, by the way. Kefe is 1438, where you have Queen Cassiope is 1890. So that's about 400 years apart. You know, she would have passed way before he was born, you know, but yet still in the myth, they're seen to be married with a child. Andromeda, that's what I'm showing you. That's the power of the myth, because when I did my research, I came to understand now from her time to his time, there was a certain balance of power and stability that was in the ancient kingdom there of Kush, of Ethiopia. So turning that into a myth, and more than likely the Greeks got that from the Ethiopians too. It was as if between those two rulers, that female and male ruler, there was a certain balance in between that could be Andromeda. And the balance was threatened by the sea monster that Perseus had to come and defeat. So you understand, it's deep, you know. That's how history becomes legend. Let's put it that way. That's why you don't throw legend away like, oh, legend is false. No, that's not how we think. No, we know better than that. You know, we understand the heights thereof. Very good. Okay, let's move on here so we can look to see this up properly. I hope everyone is irie. I hope everyone is good. So those of you now that are, we still on the YouTube, yeah. Those of you that are watching on the YouTube, press the like button, share the video. At least that, share the video. You can at least, you know, I'll be very thankful. And yes, we appreciate that very, very much. Remember, this is the Tiger's Nest. Make sure that you become a subscriber to the Tiger's Nest so you never miss none of them classes here again. You know, and if for whatever reason we come off of the YouTube, yeah, just join us on Radio Anu. The link should be in the description below the video. Just join us straight on Radio Anu as we continue the discussion, unless we go straight through this evening. So what I'm saying is this. Okay, so Prester John now. They say he's mythical, but Cassiopeia mythical, but she is Cassiope. Kephas is mythical, but he's Kefe. Mythical. Legend. Yeah. I always like to bring in the story of the tiger's nest at the radio program, the tiger's nest in Bhutan, the monastery. It's a monastery. It was founded by a monk who flew in on a tigress. Yeah, tigers, a flying tiger, a flying female tiger with wings. Flew the monk that discovered the tiger's nest. And the tiger with wings was his wife. Now, again, I believe that story. Oh, come on, priest. Come on. You come better than that, man. Come on, I thought better than you. You see, this is what I'm talking about. I believe the story. It's obvious. It's obviously a legend, but legends are taken from real history. A man did go. That's why the building is there. Somebody built it. Somebody set up the tiger's nest. A man went with his wife and set it up. I don't think, number one, I don't think he's married to a tiger, and I don't think his wife is a tiger. But whatever they would have had to do to achieve such feat, when you look back at the story, I would assume the assistance that his wife gave him was as such that it was as if she was carrying him on his back, on her back. That's why the story says she flew with him on her back and carried him to the spot where he built the tiger's nest. And just the fact that she was a tiger also means something as well. You follow what I'm saying? So again, it doesn't take away from the reality of the history. It's just, let's say, it has been supersized somewhat. But you must understand when to appreciate that. All right, let's move forward. I hope you comprehend that little philosophy there. It helps us to even look at history and our research better. Sometimes when you don't have an open mind like that, you just at everything and good information gets away. I don't want to hear that. I don't listen to those stupid things and all of that, Very good. All right. King Lalibela. Let's just start there. King Lalibela, according to some, came in at 1173. I've seen 1172. I've seen other things, but in the same ballpark. Okay. King Lalibela is a saint. Saint Lalibela specifically. And he, of course, is outstanding as it relates to the building of these churches. Now, some say, I've read different things, that them churches were built overnight. And then, of course, you have 24 years. But archaeology, hear me, good family, this is important. Archaeology and other levels of science, even geology and certain aspects of history, differs tremendously. In fact, for those who are scientifically minded, they're telling us that Lalibela was built maybe in a period of 300 years. Not at one time or in 24 years. And for sure, not by angels. They're not going to put in that. You got to think scientific. Now, but even if it's 300 years, and the thing about Lalibela, Lalibela is not that long ago. It's not 1,000 years ago. Yeah, for that kind of work. So the point I'm making is the time of Lalibela is the time of Prester John. You hear me? The time of Lalibela is the time of Prester John. Now, before we go to, let us come back to Lalibela. Now, we have to keep in mind that John is a name that Ethiopian kings would have had. Now, that's a lot closer to our time, Johannes IV and Johannes III. I know there is an Ionis as well. I'm not too sure if that is a John. But again, as I said, John, Johannes, John in the Quran is Yahya, Yah, 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 Yah. So Lalibela now, to me, is a prime candidate. In fact, there was a book I read once entitled The Ark. I cannot remember the author. It's a while back. And the book speaks about Lalibela holding the ark before it went to wherever it is now. You know, from Lake Tana to different places, and it came to Lalibela. That book, I would say, makes the assumption that Lalibela was the actual Prester John. Now, it didn't go in no details, but when we look at the dates, family, when Lalibela came to the throne, 1173, was the same time that Prester John came to prominence in Europe. This great king. Now, the vibes I'm getting that at that time he was no mythical king. Somewhere along the line, somebody turned him into a mythical king. They have some historical characters that we turn mythical now, and we don't believe them ever exist and all kind of things. Prester John joined the club. Don't worry, Prester John, you're not the only person people think never existed. Yeah, so Prester John now, priest Johannes, Presbyter Johannes, priest John, the king of Ethiopia, was this great king who stood out and had gold and diamonds and everything. Remember, you know, Lalibela built the New Jerusalem. He didn't just build it and he was crazy and he gave it the name. The world understood. The world understood geopolitically that the Ethiopian king is building or has built the New Jerusalem. So if Prester John, that's my point, you know, I'm not trying to convince nobody of anything here, but if Prester John was a real king, although you know, he's painted as a mythical fable today, but yet still, even if he was, there had to be a real source. Listen to me. There had to be a real source that would have created a legend like that. These legends and so-called myth and fable don't just blow out of the wind. So there was a king in Ethiopia. Maybe his name wasn't Prester John. And maybe that's not really a name. It's a title again, Yahya. And again, we have kings named Johannes, by the way. So don't rule it out. But if the history of his fame coming to Europe, or going to Europe, pardon me, if the history of his fame going to Europe was in the 12th century, that's when Lalibela bust on the scene and trod on them churches. What are you talking about? In their glory days, in their heydays, when the king dancing around the Ark of the Covenant. So if Prester John was a real person, I would suggest that we take a better look at King Lalibela. I'm not here with no dogma. Now, if Prester John is some sort of fable again, that fable doesn't sound just fable. That fable sounds rich with culture. I want you to listen to me good. This king from the east that's ruling 3 Indies, it sounds like Hermes Trismegistus now. This king that is the king of the east, the king of Ethiopia, and gold and diamonds, and he's prosperous, and everybody loves him. It's rich with culture. It's rich with the truth. Now, that description could go, I mean, across the board to many Ethiopian kings. What say you? I'm sure. So even though they may have a bad apple here or there, a king in Ethiopia who is loving and caring and has all the riches and has all the gold and takes care of his people. That's why Ethiopia could have such a long dynastic rulership, whether it has its ups and downs or not, yet still, because of its culture, because of its moral standings, this description of Prester John, I'm sure, could apply to many. Osiris never exists, but all the kings were seen as Osiris. So Prester John never exists, they say. So he's not Lalibela then? No, he's not real. Okay, oh, take it easy. But the characteristics given to Prester John could cover Lalibela, could cover Dawit the first and the second, could cover Menelik the second, could cover Ras Mokenen. What say you? But if Prester John is a mythical character, that means, like all these mythical characters, we should expect to see this symbolism portray itself in literalism one day. What say you? Because yes, the spirit of Osiris is on all the kings, even the bad kings do. But the day will come when Osiris will manifest into flesh. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. I hear my brother Vaughn Benjamin sing about Prester John already. I can't remember the song. But I know who he was hinted to. Emperor Haile Selassie I. If Prester John is just an esoteric prophecy, Haile Selassie I, the program we did with Anko Madrid, that's a classic where the brother highlighted for us Lord, what you name, Lord Raglan. I got the name wrong, pardon me, Lord Raglan, and Otto Ranks. These fellas have 11, I think, and 22 different archetypes for the hero, for the God figure, for the Superman, for the Overman. Yeah. Friedrich Nietzsche, as his name is, the man that write Thus said Zoroaster. He speaks of the Superman. He also gives them descriptions there. The different motifs too and archetypes. The man on the hill, the lion on the hill. So in the same way, Justin and his golden fleece, you study the story, Haile Selassie, man. Because remember all of these that's why you have 16 crucified saviors. It's not the 16 of them. All of these mythical characters basically go through the same thing. The story may not be exactly the same, but shoot, it's like the same thing in all religions. Similar. And what they go through is fulfilled naturally, just in nature. That's why the sun rises and sets and dies for 3 days and 3 nights and all of that stuff and come again in the morning and the light returns. That can be applied to all of us. All of us could be applied to the sun. The sun, I should say, could apply to all of us. But yet still, in the scope of history, one will come with the full radiance of the light of the sun. That's why he's called the feathered snake. So Prester John, in that esoteric sense, with all of its archetypes, is fulfilling Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie is Prester John. I thought you said it was Lalibela. No, listen, my statements are not religious. This is this this is the comprehension hour here. Well, at least two, because I think we've gone over the hour now. You understand? So as I was saying, we're reasoning, my brother. We reasoning. As I was saying, if Prester John was a real smarty, that's person really, at that time, and all descriptions lead to Ethiopia at that time, great king and emperor at that time. Well, just a simple thing. Who is the emperor at that time? Now, there were several, but the outstanding one is Lalibela. And we all know Lalibela is at the top of the heap when it comes, not the heap, but the king, one of the kings of the hill when it comes to the Ethiopian history and what he would have done. And I find him a very good candidate for Prester John. What say you? Now, I'm just saying, I don't know everything. So if Prester John didn't really exist as such, although, again, with proper clear reasoning, the Prester John motif or the Prester John vibration could apply to most kings, I am sure. But if there is a character Prester John lacking, well, I'm saying he will show up someday. And I'm saying he would have showed up already because he's a priest king. Yeah. So when you do your research and you do your study and you get into the realms of it, it brings good understanding, definitely, even as we touch upon a subject area that I consider very important as such. All right. Now, very important again, family, as I said, that is why, as I always say, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, it's not a joke. The history is very, very important. And understanding history so you can even discern now between fable and history. And then even if you yourself, you haven't come to the exact understanding of if it's fable or history, but you don't lose it because you have understanding. You could look at it if it was fable and see its value. Not fable. Fable is like a European word. Myth. The mythos. Mythos is a science. I don't know if fable is a science. Fable is elves, leprechauns, werewolves. That's fable. Werewolves, really. Yeah, leprechaun, real to it. You're right. You're right. Yeah, man, there's some strange things around. Hey, listen, family, give thanks for your presence with us, this evening. Having a beautiful time here with the royal family. How many of you are going to be with me on Sunday, family? You gotta definitely, support the institute. Really, Patrons Day is just a day of love. That is why we slash prices on everything, so that you could even show the love on that day, and of course we give away many things on that day. I'm sure you already know that those of you who are going to take in the international homeschool, you'll be definitely getting the ancient astronomy course with it, and vice versa. Listen, there's so many things that we have to offer on that day. And of course, it's a day of love. We're going to have a good reasoning when Rastafari Roundtable meets. Welcome to the House of Priests. Again, I'll be making several presentations on that day. The Honorable Empress Naya will be presenting the International Homeschool, another level once again. Honorable Prince Salamase and Princess Akesha Menin will be giving you a special youth university. King Ras Isern will be in the house. Rasai Idonis will be in the house. Honorable Kes Westmore will be in the house. Let me see who else. Several ones will be coming in. It's just going to be a joyful, wonderful day. Remember the Webathon directly connected to, of course, the upcoming International Essay Competition for African History Month. So many things taking place, family. Give thanks for your love. Give thanks for your energy. Yes, and give thanks to the ones on radio and on TV, YouTube that stuck with us. That's good. Press the link in the description below now and come over to Radio Anu, where we're continuing the vibes and continuing the spice and the knowledge. So as I said, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will definitely become a mystery. And of course, it takes some realize to realize the real lies that are amongst us. Holy Emmanuel, Haile Selassie, Jah Rastafari.